December 10, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. This is how I drew it up. The volume wasn't that high today. There was some trades, but there weren't very many. There was no economic data that came out to really move the markets. And for the most part, moves were really clean, I would say. It was choppy in certain areas, like over here, but there was like large movements that were, I guess, clean, but they didn't necessarily translate to good setups or high probability setups. So there was no economic data, as I said, so I'm just going to get into the trades right now. I took a total of one trade and it was profitable. It's right here. So in the pre-market, I'm not exactly sure why this huge run-up occurred, but huge is a relative term because if you look at the total price action today, it looked like it was just kind of a big range with a sell-off. So in the pre-market, there was a trading range, then it spiked up, tested the highs, came back down, spiked up and tested, moved the second time. Then it sold off. And the first setup that I saw was, okay, so you have a new high. It's a first entry long, pullback, second entry long. I also saw this as two legs down, but later combined it into one big leg here. So it almost made the measure move because initially I was also looking at something closer to this, a type of channel, but then it broke out and it kept going. So then I drew it as one bigger channel. I thought it might just been a range. So you look like you're in a trading range here. You have a new high, localized new high. It's a first entry long, pullback, second entry long. This is an almost trade. I like that this trigger bar moved one tick below and then pushed up. The problem is the signal bar is not that great. And the trigger bar itself wasn't that great. It created a spike and then it pulled back all the way back to here. So it gives me a little bit more cautious take because it attempted to get up to here, but it didn't close the high and it just came back down. Ideally, this candle would have no wick and this would have been a bullish bar. I mean, I'm asking for a lot, but then I would feel more confident because I'm seeing this in real time and I'm wondering, am I going to hit the EMA or hit a potential top of the trading range? So it's an almost trade. It could have been, but it was not good enough. Prices move up. So technically I have a new low here, first entry short, but I count this as a localized new low. So I just started to count from here. You have a first entry short, technically you have a second entry short. This is a really small 3-tick signal bar. The unfortunate thing is an inside bar. I mean, you could consider taking a trade here, but it's also telling me that it's a break of this orange up channel, break, close outside. So I'm thinking it wants to test the high. So I'm not necessarily thinking of short. Then you get this big candle, and unless you're very quick to see it moving up and engulfing, I don't think it was necessarily a trade setup that, well, I certainly didn't consider. With pushing down, I'm looking for a lower high, but you don't really get it. It's this other consolidation, it starts moving up. So what's the price action right now? It just looks like it's ranging with these big sweeping legs. Very organized rally and very organized sell-off. So there's another localized new low. It's a first entry short, second entry short. It's a bad signal bar to go short on. No other real setup. Pushes up. Now, why I thought this was a failed breakout because initially I had my potential resistance right here because I was thinking this could be my trading range and this is the pre-market high and the pre-market low is actually this red line, but I just drew it here. So I thought this is a potential failed breakout pushing back in. Maybe it's going to come back down here where the bottom of the range could be down here. But it pushes back up, kind of gets choppy, moves up. I'm thinking it looks like it's a spike and this orange up channel because it fits pretty well on the low side, fits pretty well on the high side, but no real clean setup because you have a new high, first entry long, and then you really don't get anything else. Then here you do to confirm second entry long. So it looks like it's two legs down. So say new high, first entry long, pull back, second entry long. I thought this is a possible support area. So I thought this second entry long failed breakout because I actually had this a little higher here. So this definitely looks like it's a failed breakout moving back into the trading range because it's a failed breakout up here. It's a decent trigger bar because it engulfed this signal bar, which wasn't that good. But it is two legs down. Maybe there's going to be a test of this orange up channel. The thing was giving me some consideration was if this really is the top of the range, is it moving back down or is it moving back up? So I called it a possible trade just because it looked like it's a pretty strong rejection. It stopped short of the EMA though, so I wanted to wait for a higher low. And you really don't get that higher low, it just kind of pushes up. You technically could say this is a higher low because it is higher, but I don't like that this is a bearish signal bar. And so it's just kind of sit on hand. So if you didn't take this trade, there's no real confirmation here. This here was an aggressive trade anyways. The new high, it's a first entry long, pull back, second entry long, failed second entry short. I thought this was a possible trade too. It was a new low, it's a first entry short, second entry short. Second entry short here looks like it's about to fail. New high, first entry long, second entry long. Second entry long here looks like it's about to be confirmed. So it is at the top of this pre-market highs. So you'd have to kind of jump in on it, expecting and anticipating enough to test the high here because there's a break of the purple. First attempt up, it could be starting the second attempt. So it's a possible trade in my opinion. Enough room to the high. Excuse me. So pushes up, you would have gotten it. Prices then kind of keep moving down. So first entry long, second entry long, it's really not a good signal bar. It could be a lower high, but I don't know. This just doesn't look that. I saw it, but I wasn't really sure, so I just kind of left it alone. Didn't even mark it. Looks like if you did enter, you probably would have gotten a quick scalp out of this. Oh, I remember why. I remember seeing this, and I think I had this drawn, or at least the support here, extended out to here. So it's this extension of this support, you're potentially running into support now. So I think that's why I didn't really like it. There's a new low, first entry short. Prices start moving down. I was playing with all kinds of channel. Looked like this green channel fit pretty well. Break, tested the low. Then it tries to come back up a second time. It starts moving down and it starts moving sideways. This is very, very sideways price action. I wasn't sure this green one was valid anymore, but I did see it as one big leg down, potentially a second leg down, but I also saw a potential bigger yellow down channel leg. And I was thinking, well, it's a little bit hard to trust this yellow down channel right now because it's too wide for the price structure. But I was looking for some kind of reaction down here at the measured move. It starts breaking down finally because this is just noise. You have a new low, first entry short. You technically have a second entry short here, but it's not a good signal bar. Bottoms out. It looks like it just kind of hits the support, pushes up, flushes down, and it's just getting very noisy here. But I was thinking it's in some kind of range right here. It does make the measured move. So I'm thinking, is there a possibility it made one leg down, second leg down? It's since been deleted, but I thought, could this pre-market high be the top of the range, and could this potentially be the bottom of a range? So it's actually, I'll just go ahead and draw it. It's a little, this has evolved a lot throughout the day because I delete and draw in channels, delete and draw in trend lines that work out, that don't work out. And I was thinking, could this potentially be the trading range? So it made two legs down, had a fail breakout up here. Potentially it's going to reverse back up into range. So let's actually, I'll go ahead and delete this. I was actually looking, I saw a new high, first entry long, pullback. Technically you have a second entry long, then you get a higher low. I also saw a new low here, first entry short, second entry short. Second entry short, higher low confirmation. Second entry short technically has failed here. I like this, so I went ahead and I jumped in on the trade. I wasn't too concerned about the EMA. EMA was acting as resistance through here, but now it's flattening out and price action is shooting above and below it. So the EMA really isn't reliable right now, but the overall structure, I'm thinking, went two legs down, it could be reversing back up. So I entered one tick above, and I did think that maybe if I'm in the smaller trading range, I'd have to push it out past it by about one tick, but I was okay doing that because this is the high. So I was able to enter and get a quick 1 point scalp, and then I moved the runner to 1 point above break even, waiting for this to potentially move back into the bigger range, and then I got stopped out. One and only trade that I took moves down to this red down channel, first attempt long. There's another fail breakout corresponding to this fail breakout. It's in this trading range, but now moves up very aggressively. It's a new low, first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short. Nothing here tells me to go short. And so when I see this, I was playing with all kinds of lines throughout the day. I thought, okay, there could be a trend line here, one touch, two touch, and I'll be looking for a third touch on this red one. But then the bottom side looked like it didn't really consider this one that important, but it looked like it touched once, twice, three times, maybe a fourth time here, but it looks like it might be in this bigger red channel. They do have a second entry long here. It's not a really good signal bar. If this had been green and it had touched the EMA, at least one tick below this doji, then I think this might have been a possible trade. But now it hits this and confirms the red resistance. So before this red one, uh, I don't give it too much respect yet because it could still move up and test the high of this green up channel because it's moving one attempt up. And if this one just had been green, then I think it might make a second attempt up. I might have considered this trade. But you wait, the follow through is here, it gets a rejection and it starts moving down. So I'm trusting this red trend line now, and I'm not really looking for a long, but I'm not really ready to take a short yet either. Now there is potential new high, first entry long, second entry long could be a lower high, but I just didn't like the way this candle closed, and it's right where the EMA is. Previously, EMA wasn't reliable, but it did have a little bit of a support here, so it just kind of gives me pause because the EMA throughout the day and over across many days often acts as a really strong, reliable support or a really strong, reliable resistance. And sometimes it just doesn't matter because prices are moving up above and below it, so it doesn't really, act as a good key entry point. And today is kind of turning out that way. The prices move down, kind of shoots downwards. It creates this measured move for sure, and now it's breaking below it. I saw this. I saw this as a new low, first entry short, second entry short. I was considering taking a trade. It's doji, but the thing is, this risk is really tiny. It's only a three tick bar, but I just really, if it just had a body one way or the another, ideally a bearish body, I might have jumped on it. But the doji just kind of gave me pause. And plus, it closed right at the EMA. If I did take it, let's see, 61.75. So I would need. Oh, it's debatable whether I would have even gotten out. I probably would have gotten stopped out if I even jumped on this trade. And this one would have definitely hit my stop. Prices then moved down. So I'm thinking there could be the second down channel, this yellow one. Prices then continue moving, breaks out of the green down channel, tests the lows, versus the first entry short, creates the second entry short. The second entry short, I went back and forth and I thought it might actually be a possible trade because the break of this, let me zoom in, break of this orange up channel, test the high, uptrend may have played out. Going short goes with the trend, especially the trend of the day, which is very, very low grinding sell off. They have one leg up, pull back, second leg up, and then it looks like it's reversing. So it's the first entry short. This, it just had a lot of trouble breaking below this support, and finally it does with a decently strong close. So I thought there's enough room here for potentially a quick scalp, but I didn't jump on it and just watched. You do have a lower high here, but it's a bullish bar now, and it just doesn't feel safe. Prices didn't continue moving. It looks like it's in this range now. So I drew this other range. It's a new, technically a localized new high. First entry long right here, pull back. You don't really get a second entry long, and it starts moving down on what looks like this green down channel. No clean second entries, both long or short, so I'm just sitting here waiting. There's an overshoot here, and it starts reversing. You have a first entry short, technically a second entry short. The best you can hope for is a failed second entry short. You do have a failure, first entry short, second entry short failure, but this is a very weak looking setup. I did see a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long failure. I marked it because it looked like, it's consolidating. The EMA is kind of holding prices down. The thing I didn't like about it is at 12:50, so there's only 10 minutes of regular trading hours left. So it just feels dicey to try to enter something. And then just kind of moves into the close. So as I said, today was a really kind of a slow day, but the movement was very clean. There was some few areas of choppiness, but that clean movement didn't necessarily translate to a lot of trades. So even the trade that I took, I liked it, but it wasn't necessarily the highest probability, but I found enough reasons to like it. So hopefully that was helpful.